This is a First Defense weather alert.
Good evening, 6:06 on Sunday afternoon. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter back in the First Defense Weather Center. And as we told you, if things started, we'd be back on the air, and here we are. We have our first severe thunderstorm warning of the day for portions of the southern tier. It is for northern Chautauqua County that extends up into the northwestern portion of Cattaraugus County. And these storms have really started blossoming over the past 15 to 30 minutes. I mean, we've been sitting here all afternoon waiting for things to happen, and now they're starting to get going. Notice all the showers starting to break out across the southern tier in northwestern PA, but our concern is this severe thunderstorm warning up in here, and it's carrying a tornado possible tag with it. And the reason for that has to do with the high amounts of instability that we have in the atmosphere today. In fact, kind of noticing a little weak area right here over Cassadaga. There's not much reflectivity here, and let's pop the velocity on here, Andrew, just to see what that looks like, because again, there is a tornado possible tag with it. Let's zoom in a little tighter and see what we got here. I don't think there's much in the way of rotation here, but there is that little weak area on the reflectivity, which is a little bit concerning. Let's put the hail threat on here, because there also could be the potential for large hail that could be occurring within this storm as well. And where you see this red core area here, that could be upwards of over 1 inch hail. And the main threats with this storm as it moves across Cassadaga, moving towards the northeast, you see that orange polygon, that is the severe thunderstorm warning polygon. And so this is mainly going to be the main threat. I think gusty winds, large hail, and there could be an isolated tornado within here. But again, the same thing we've talked about, the tornado threat is relatively low today, but again, it doesn't matter if the tornado threat is low or not, there's still a threat for at least an isolated tornado across the region. This is the wind threat product, and you can see we could be talking about wind gusts possibly upwards of 53 miles an hour across Cassadaga. Further to the west, the winds not as strong, but you still could be dealing with wind gusts possibly around 45, 46 miles an hour. Let's put the reflectivity back on, and this is what you normally see when you look at radar. This is the standard reflectivity pattern, and again, I'm not really liking how there's a little weak area in the reflectivity here. We'll just have to wait and see, but notice all of this. Notice that purple core right in there. That's likely the hail core where the large hail is falling now, and this is where the extent of the severe thunderstorm warning extends out to, going out into northwestern Cattaraugus County, which includes Gowanda. So if you're watching us in Gowanda, you have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect there for that. This is the only warning that we're working right now. And as we mentioned, we've been sitting here through the whole afternoon hours, but we do have a special weather statement down across Warren County. And again, not surprising, we're starting to get active here. These storms coming out of Crawford County, let's zoom down into that and take a deeper look into those storms here. Looks like the Weather Service, again, same thing we talked about during the last time we were on the air, maximum wind gusts 55 miles an hour on some of these storms that is coming out of Crawford County. You can see it's mainly going to clip that northern and northwestern section of Warren County. And if that continues on that track, that'll likely wind up in southern Chautauqua County. And again, it's not a severe thunderstorm warning at this point. It is a special weather statement, which means that the National Weather Service is watching this storm for the potential that it could re-strengthen and become a stronger storm as it continues to move to the northeast. But small hail could be likely. Main factor out of this would be strong wind gusts as it comes up towards Sugar Grove and Russell, coming up here, moving to the northeast. Let's go back to that severe thunderstorm warning back up for the northern section of Chautauqua County. The polygon has just been updated to now put the maximum hail size at 1¼ inches. And no doubt about that. You can see it right there in the info box, 1.25 inches, 1¼ inch hail size. And they're still keeping the tornado possible tag within there. Let's put the hail threat product back on here and see what we're looking at in terms of hail. And again, the hail threat product is a product that we have on First Defense Doppler that tries to show you the maximum amount of hail size, and looks like the larger amount of hail is probably still across the western section of Cassadaga, coming up towards the northeast there. Could be dealing with over 1 inch hail there. The main core of the system likely not producing as much of large hail as the storm continues to move to the northeast. This is the county line right here. Here's Gowanda, there's South Dayton. This is where the severe storm is now, and it's moving like this across that northwestern section of Chautauqua County. That northeastern section of Chautauqua County going into northwestern Cattaraugus County as well. Weather Service in Buffalo was stating that this particular storm has a storm top of 50,000 feet. That's tall, folks. That means the thunderstorm extends 50,000 feet up into the atmosphere. That's a very tall storm there. And this is by far the tallest storm we've seen all day today, and by far the most active storm we've seen all day today. You know, as we mentioned, we've been sitting here all afternoon waiting for things to initialize, and things are starting to initialize now as we have a lake boundary that is moving across the region, which is initializing all this activity. So again, what we talked about, the main concern over the next couple of hours is going to be the western southern tier, as there's more instability here along with that lake boundary flaring these storms. So again, same thing we talked about. Just because it's been quiet doesn't mean the event is over. Now we're starting to get into the main core of the action here. Let's do a wide view here and just kind of show you what's going on here, because as we mentioned, storms have really started to get going here. And according to Jackson Hickey, who's now out in the field, he says that he's got rotation on the cell south of near South Dayton. So let's put the velocity data back on and go back into that storm and see if we can pick out an area where there's going to be rotation. And if there's any rotation, it's probably going to be right about in here. Doesn't look very impressive on this particular radar display. And again, you know, this is a low-level look down into this. This is the Buffalo National Weather Service NexRad, which is located at the Buffalo Airport. And so we're getting a nice low-level scan into this. This is about 3,000 feet off the ground, so it's still relatively low to the ground. So again, you know, this storm is carrying a tornado possible tag with it, simply for that potential that there could be a spin-up tornado within this line. And I'm looking at the reflectivity display on my radar over here, and I'm telling you, that looks a little ominous. Let's go back to Cassadaga. Yes, see how the storm near Cassadaga is starting to take on an ominous shape? Right back here in the back, that's not a good sign. And I don't believe, I was just looking at that, there's really not much in the way of rotation with that particular storm. But just because the reflectivity looks like that doesn't necessarily mean you are going to have a particular tornado coming out of that. I hear in my IFB a live stream. I don't know if we can double box who this might be. I think this might be Mitch Bellinger, who is out. I know Mitch Bellinger, Sean Sweatman, Jackson Hickey, they're all out storm chasing.
Time to rotate the tires, apparently.
And I hear it in my IFB, but I'm not sure if we can double box quite yet.
We are in Cassadaga right now. We're jumping on Bard Road.
Okay, thank you very much. This is Mitch Bellinger's live stream, and he's heading up into Cassadaga to try to intercept this particular storm.
Too, because of interference from the...
yeah, that's entirely possible.
And this particular storm, again, is carrying that tornado possible tag simply because there could be an area of broad rotation that could potentially produce brief, weak tornado. And understand, you know, we rate these things by, you know, weak, strong, and violent and all this stuff. Don't get hung up in those names. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is there is a potential that there could be a tornado that could occur, and I am seeing a little bit more rotation starting to appear up, especially near Cassadaga. There's a little area just south of Cassadaga that corresponds with that reflectivity signature that could very well could be an area where there could be some rotation. And again, that is I believe that is Sean Sweatman.
Hard road. We're kind of getting right back on the.
Okay, so this is Mitch. Okay, so this is Bellinger's live stream, and again, thank you very much. There's our double box, and you can kind of see right back in here, there is an area south of Cassadaga where you're starting to see the two colors coming together. That very well could mean that there could be some rotation starting to develop on this storm back behind Cassadaga, and if we put the reflectivity back on here, you can see that the reflectivity does have that little ominous, well, that's the new update. Okay, there it is. I was one scan behind on my radar over here, but you can still see that that storm still has that ominous look shape to it as it is coming back out towards, moving towards the northeast. So you see in the live stream that Sean Sweatman, who's out ahead of Mitch, and you know, the same thing we talk about all the time when we're in weather coverage. We sound like a broken record because you know, we constantly say this, but it's important. Mitch and Sean and Jackson are storm trained. They know what they're doing. They know how to stay safe. So they're not going to put themselves in danger. They're not going to put anybody else in danger. So, you know, we talk about it all the time. Don't go out and storm chase unless you've had the proper training. I know it's, you know, curiosity is right up there, and especially you watch these shows on television of storm chasers. Just don't do it, because you can get into trouble very, very quickly if you don't know what you're doing. So that is why we only send out the people who've been trained. They have a lot of gear on board their vehicles. They, you know, Mitch and Sean and them, they have the same single site radar products we look at here in the office, so they know how to stay safe. And again, in that second box, you're seeing Mitch Bellinger, his live stream up along with Sean Sweatman. They're in that same area up near Cassadaga, looking back into this particular storm. And then again, we did have a report from Jackson Hickey, who's on staff here, that who's also out as well, that there was some rotation going on, particularly with this storm near South Dayton. And that's out ahead of